What's up, guys? We're diving into three stocks, P6. I'm going to tell you them right now, Baba and SG on the short side, which is a new one. Be careful with that. SG, Sweetgreen is a short idea. But P6, data center power, and Baba is Alibaba, the one you know, love, hate. So let's jump into those right now. Just going to share my screen so you can see what the heck we're talking about. And keep in mind, this is not financial advice, even though it might sound like I know what I'm talking about sometimes. All right, so this is Baba. This is P6, but really we want to look at Baba first because it's the one people probably know, right? Alibaba is holding up, does have earnings coming up, resilient despite, China uncertainties. This is the China ETF, which is doing fine. Uh, Sweetgreen, we can take a quick look at this. Why this is a short is obvious. It blew out on the downside in a bad way, earnings, and just continues to unwind. And it's in the same category as Shack, which also doesn't look great, right? Shake Shack. All right. And then P6, real quick. This is what it looks like. It did come back a little bit on Friday today as I'm recording this, but it does look like it's going to hold up. It's a data center play. Earnings are sketchy right now. It's already wicked extended, 50% up, which is about 5 times its average daily range. But keep that in mind because there are very few stocks that are holding up on earnings. So if this holds up, it has a lot of relative strength towards the market. Also, P6 revenue up year over year. They did have this sort of SEC issue, but it's sort of been a turnaround story. The former CEO was a little bit sketch, but this is about the hottest sector in the market, right? AI, data centers, and power. And with the super solid Q2 earnings, um, I don't know a reason to ignore this one. They are going to join the Russell, which is a big deal. Um, Obviously, that doesn't make any sense because they're already in the NASDAQ. So just ignore me on that point. But let's skip over to Baba. You're probably thinking, why China? Why, this is in the same category as ADRs? It's not. This is a real company, year over year sales growth of 31 billion, 13% growth. That billion is in yuan, so that's a little confusing. But point is that the chart is holding up and this thing could tighten up, these moving averages converge, and this thing could rocket depending on what these earnings results are next week. And I wouldn't sleep on their AI cloud platform either. I mean, we were sleeping on Microsoft, right? And then they basically took Google's lunch by partnering with AI, OpenAI. OpenAI is just synonymous with AI at this point. So yeah, the stock's up quite a bit, you know, considering this was the beginning of the year. But we got to remember 40% is nothing considering the whole stock market bounced 40% since April right here. Alibaba sort of doesn't exactly follow the stock market, right? Something about the Chinese companies are not, in line with the SPY as we see. Yen was going up during that time as well. So the tariff thing obviously was like complete opposite for these guys, but right now Japan tariffs don't really matter for them. They're holding up, and if we turn and the market continues up, Alibaba could benefit as well, right? We are still partners, even though we're kind of, keep your friends close situation. Sweetgreen turning over here. I wouldn't necessarily short this unless you're super comfortable shorting, but like I said, these other companies in the food space, I wouldn't touch, right? Shake Shack is the one I was looking at. I don't know why I'm looking at E8C. Um, yeah, I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole on the long side. And so whenever you feel like that's the case, you start looking at other companies to maybe do the same thing and short. So this is like a sector play, uh, sympathy play, but on the short side. So just being super clear, there is a possibility of a short squeeze here, but I don't think there's a ton of companies betting against fast food restaurants right now. And by companies, I mean headphones. I think they have more important things to bet against. Um, so I don't think this is going to be any sort of crazy, stupid GameStop situation or anything. I think this is just super simple. If you short here, maybe you risk yesterday's highs, and which would be not up here, but yesterday, as in like pre-market, after hours. I'm using the 24-hour candle, so that's why this is the way it is. This candle opens here instead of here. Okay, hope that makes sense. So yeah, Sweetgreen on the short side, and a little more information on P6. I would just say be careful with the stops here because this thing can wick like crazy. See, right, it opened, it wicked about, what is that, like 10% or something ridiculous. So if you short right it open, it's 10%, you're going to get stopped out, and then the thing's going to start to move downward. But like I said, I'm talking about a long on this one, so if it seems like I'm all over the place, it's because you can short and long on the same ticker and make money. I think this is a long over the next couple weeks, which is what you're probably watching this video for. Just make sure you do be aware that if you're buying it right here on an opening day, wick up, you're basically missing out on 10%. You could have gotten it lower. So unless you have a ton of capital, you don't need to wait until it goes up. You can buy it right at 9:30 or a little bit before, even in the pre-market. So those are the plays. Let me know if you have any tickers you want me to look at down below in the comments. Like, subscribe, share this video if you want more videos like this. All right, you guys are awesome. Be well.